Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Nerd Closet. The end of the year is a time for reflection, and since this web series is about costumes, let's take a look back at who was the best of the best dressed. For this list, I limited myself to one entry per movie, video game, or TV series. Sorry comic books, you just didn't impress me this year. More specifically, it needed to come out in the US in 2013. And I didn't manage to see everything that was made this year. So if you have a favorite that isn't on the list, let me know in the comments section down below. Now, on to the fashion! Number 10. Oliver, Esther, and Swain from Ni no Kuni. I'm starting off my list by cheating. Ni no Kuni has some of the best character designs of any video game, and if you're wondering, it's my favorite game of the year. Level 5 and Studio Ghibli did a wonderful job blending the fairy tale elements with the scary nightmares. And honestly, I would love to put every character from the game on this list, but the three main characters are the ones I could see myself cosplaying next year. And since I couldn't decide on one character, I just picked several characters and put them at the bottom of the list. Number 9. Homura from Madoka Magica Rebellion. I don't have any footage to show with this one. And since it's new, I don't want to just say what it is, in case someone hasn't seen the film. But if you have seen the film, then I bet you know which one I'm talking about. Number 8. The War Doctor from Doctor Who, The Day of the Doctor. I enjoyed the 50th anniversary episode. It didn't feel much like an anniversary episode, but I was entertained. Honestly, I feel like the docudrama and adventure in time and space felt much more like a 50th anniversary special than the episode itself. That being said, the War Doctor was a great character. His costume was a combination of Paul McGann and Christopher Eccleston's, but with that rough and worn-out look of a man who's been tossed around. Unfortunately, its brown color scheme hides a lot of his details. Had I not watched the Night of the Doctor web short, I wouldn't have even realized he had a bandolier. And that's sad, because bandoliers are cool. Number 7. Gintaro from Silver Fox. Cosplay is about becoming a character, and I have always been fascinated by the costumes that would require building an animal-like head over your own. Gintaro is a fox spirit that lives at a local shrine. He's the cool, aloof type of character that pretends he's uninterested, but really, he's kind of a softie. I love his traditional clothing and beads, as well as how fuzzy he is. As soon as I figure out how to make a believable fox head, I just might start working on becoming Gintaro. Number 6. Gary King from The World's End. Just like Gintaro and the War Doctor, Gary King is not just a costume, he's a whole character. Each and every item of clothing on his costume speaks to the character as a whole. You can tell exactly what kind of person Gary King is by just looking at a photo of him. There's the Sister of Mercy's t-shirt, a band that broke up in the early 80s, so he can hold it over the younger fans that he liked them way before they did, and even got to see them live. Whether he did or not. As well as the Eye of Ra necklace, which is just enough to tread on the toes of Christian parents, but not so modern that you might piss someone off in a bar who could beat you up. But what Gary King has over the War Doctor is the fact that I know people just like this character. His costume adds to his believability as a character, putting him just a little higher on my list. Number 5. Akatsuki from Log Horizon. I have a small confession to make. I haven't really seen much of this show. It's well animated, and it seems like it has an interesting world to explore and story to tell, but it's just not hooking me. What originally drew my attention was the character designs. Specifically, Akatsuki is what kept me watching for the few episodes that I did. As the moe mascot of sorts for the show, you would think that they would play up her femininity and give her a short skirt or a low-cut top. but instead they went in a more gender-neutral direction. She's a ninja, so she's dressed in practical clothes. The baggy pants provide lots of movement, and the padded top is sturdy but also silent. It's this very utilitarian look that forces the character's actions and expressions to be what defines her. In a way, Akatsuki is more feminine than she might have been dressed up like somebody's doll. Number 4. Valerie from Pokemon X and Y. I always have one of two reactions to Pokemon character designs. Either I absolutely love them, or I absolutely hate them. The character designs for Pokemon X and Y are pretty solid, if a little bland and monotoned. That was until I ran into the gym leader Valerie. Unlike the other gym leaders, Valerie has more than a 2-color palette to her costume, and her use of layers and accessories makes her downright adorable. I love how her headdress looks like ears. I also love Valerie because we learn about her love of Pokemon and how she expresses that love through her clothing. In fact, I'm really sad that we only had 20 minutes of gameplay with her gym. Before we get into the top 3, let's take a look at a few honorable mentions that didn't make the cut. Khan from Star Trek Into Darkness. Khan has a few different looks in the film, but the one that caught my eye was from the Klingon scene. If they were trying to go for an updated look to Khan Prime, then I think they did an awesome job. It's just a shame that he has to spend the rest of the movie in such a boring-looking outfit. The Love Live Idol uniform from Love Live. It's difficult to make a uniform that fits multiple body shapes and personalities. The girls of Love Live don't have drastically different measurements, but the uniforms still manage to give each girl the freedom to express their own individuality. Also, the skirt is plaid. Team Flare from Pokemon X and Y. Finally, we have a unisex villain uniform in the Pokemon universe. Team Flare might have earned points there, but they lose points by not setting themselves apart from the rest of the characters. Aside from the bright color and the nifty belt, what sets them apart from the other trainers in suits? Thor's cape from Thor: The Dark World. Thor's costume didn't change much from movie to movie. However, between the Avengers and The Dark World, Thor got a fabulous cape. That's a nice cape. Don't you just want to rub it all over your face? Is that just me? Let's move on. Number 3, Satsuki-sama from Kill la Kill. No. Not the superpowered version. The traditional Japanese school uniform is based on military uniforms, and Lady Satsuki's uniform takes that one step further. The collar is shaped in such a way that it is both the high collar of a boy's uniform and the sailor collar of a girl's. She has the feminine skirt and shoes, but balances that with epaulettes and an armband. Also, the aiguillette on her left shoulder is thin enough that it looks epic when the wind blows past, but it's not so heavy as to become a distraction. And you aren't even listening anymore, are you? You've gone back in the video and are watching the transformation sequence again, aren't you? Number 2, the Battle Room suits from Ender's Game. I knew that Ender's Game would make it onto my list because I really loved the look of that film, but I couldn't decide which uniform would make it onto the list. I love the look of the military uniforms with their silicone-looking emblems, but ultimately I had to go with the costume that I walked out of the theater wanting, the Battle Room suit. The Battle Room suit's major selling point is the helmet and shoulder area. It just looks so cool. Number 1, Elise from Tales of Xillia. I fell in love with almost all of the costumes the moment I started playing this game. I love the use of layers and how each layer adds a complementary color and a little extra bit of detail. Ellie's costume captured me with its detail. I mean, look at this costume. You're looking at 4 or 5 layers complete with ruffles, ribbons, and lace, as well as the unique shaping of the garment. Each of those layers takes the theme of a fleur-de-lis sort of shape and adds a little bit to each part. On her skirt, where there is a lot of motion, you have a subtle shape, but as the eye moves up, the shapes get more complex, and her boots have hearts on them. To top all that off, you have Tipo, who is just the cutest little accessory that a girl could ask for. This list started because I was thinking of cosplay projects for next year, and I can say without a doubt that Ellie is already in the planning stages. And that's my top 10 favorite costumes of 2013. Did I miss somebody? Maybe you have your own list. Let me know in the comments section down below, and be sure to follow the Nerd Closet on all the social media things. That's it for the Nerd Closet this year. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to tune in next year for more super awesome cosplay fun. Did the recording show up? Okay. Blooper reel. Yeah. No, darn! I said in the wrong. I said I don't like Stop saying with honors. He's really excited, and he obviously has no clue what we're doing here. So, I have a favorite that didn't make it onto the list. Didn't make it.
That's better.
Arm flail! I don't care. I don't care. That's my don't care face.
Okay.
Airplane.
Yeah.
Don't be mean. The camera's watching. Yeah, let's dial back perv. Let's dial back on the perv some.
Page 1.
Next page! Sorry. I don't have hands. What are you talking about? Always had one of 2 reactions to the Pokemons. No.